Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and it's Deb C, and place to be, it's Deb C. That's me, Deb C. Hey guys, happy Monday again. I hope everybody is having a wonderful week and had a great day. Let's grab our water, and it was a fantastic day here. I will talk about that in another video, but right now we are going to get to this week's episode of Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Roaring 20s. This was episode 2. It was just on last night. Let's talk about it. Okay, so it's day 2 in the OC. All the ladies are downstairs. They're getting ready to head out to Beverly Hills, to their next stop, Beverly Hills. And everybody's there except Kyle. Kyle was headed downstairs with Portia, but she stopped off, and we can see that she's a little upset. She's in her feelings. Vicky goes over and talks to her, and as it turns out, that day is Kyle's 30th wedding anniversary. Very upset. Mo had sent her a text message saying, happy anniversary, I guess, and he loves her. And he doesn't know how they got to where they're at. Anyways, and she's very upset. And I understand that, because she's saying that, people have told her throughout the years that her and Mauricio's marriage gave them hope that, that a marriage could last. And then until it didn't. Now, you would expect, and she's feeling really upset, and she says something like, I feel ashamed. I don't want to feel ashamed. And Vicky instead, Vicky should have said something like, do not be ashamed. This happens to a lot of people. You have nothing to be ashamed of. But instead, she's like, you should be ashamed. It's shameful that you let your family down. And then almost sounded to me like she was basically saying, like, hey, listen, I wish somebody would have told me when I was going to divorce Dawn that I shouldn't do it. And, she kind of turned it on herself and been like, oh, listen, I divorced Dawn, and I didn't feel good. I still don't feel good. And Kyle's like, am I ever going to feel a little better? She's like, no, you're not. So she was doom and gloom. She was Debbie Downer from the very beginning. I don't even want to include her in Debbie's, because, there's a lot of people that have my name that I don't want to include in Debbie's. But she was just like a real downer. She's like, you should be ashamed, and it almost sounded like she was saying, you should not divorce him. Girl, listen to me. That man been cheating for seasons. It wasn't just a couple recent seasons that he was like, yeah, I've been cheating. He'd been cheating for a while. I mean, if you're out there on the social media streets, you know that following Bravo fan accounts and reading the comments, that, yeah, he's been dipping his wick for like years. I would be surprised if it wasn't a decade. Anyways, so yeah, Vicky, here's another reason I can't stand Vicky Gunvalson. Okay, so everybody's in the Sprinter van, headed off to Beverly Hills, and people on the Sprinter van can tell something's up with Kyle. And they're like, what's going on, Kyle? Kyle lets them know. And everybody else, like Giselle, is like, you are a bad bitch. Live in your bad bitchness. And Portia agrees. And everybody's trying to get her real, happy, and maybe not thinking about this. And she's like, everybody in this Sprinter van knows what you're going through. Well, except for Lisa Barlow. Lisa Barlow had said, Lisa's still married to her first husband. Okay, so the mood seems to lighten a little bit. Then Giselle is like, hey, Vicki, I talked to Lisa. I talked to Lisa Barlow in Sprinter Van, and she told me some shit. She told me some things that you said. So basically, Vicki was talking on the way home in the Sprinter Van. Vicki was talking to Lisa Barlow, and she had said, I got to keep Giselle at arm's length. I got to put her in a box. I don't know why she said all this about, I don't know why she tried to start shit between me and Tamara, and I don't trust her. And Giselle comes out and confronts her and just basically says, why? So what's the deal? Did you say that? She's like, yeah, I said that. Vicki says, then Vicki's like, Giselle's trying to get into it with her. And she says, I said it. I don't want to talk about this now. And then goes back to work on her life insurance company. Cause she has a big client. Here's the thing, Vicki, you signed that contract. The contract means that you're going to appear on Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. It's not that you're just going to appear. You're going to engage too. You're going to actually be present. Because Giselle in confession was like, listen, I have business that I could be working on too, but I'm here and I'm present because that's what I signed up to do. And Vicki just working like we all are watching a Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip to see you work on life insurance paperwork or emails. I don't give a shit if you have a big client on the hook. You're not here to sell life insurance. We're not here to watch you sell life insurance and do paperwork and talk to HR. And listen, I agree with Lisa. The Sprinter Van, Vicki's like, there's so much chaos here and everybody's getting on me. The Sprinter Van. It's the Sprinter Van. The Sprinter Van equals chaos. The Sprinter Van is like another uncredited full-time housewife. So much shit goes down in the Sprinter Van. Vicki says, I don't want Tamara to think I was talking bad about her, but you were. You were. You might not do that kind of stuff on your city in the OC, but in other cities, if you talk shit on someone, that person is going to go back and tell the person you're talking shit on. Vicki is like, listen, I would say that to Tamara's face. I don't talk behind her back. I would say it to her face. Okay, so then why didn't you say it to her face? And also, if you would say it to her face, then it's something you wouldn't care if she knew. Why are you so upset that somebody told her that you said it? That doesn't make sense. If you're like, I don't care if she knows it, so it has to come from your mouth to her face? She wasn't going to say anything. Because if she was, she would have. And if she would have said it and she had no problem with Tamara knowing what she said, then she wouldn't be upset. So upset that Tamara found out about it. Now Teresa speaks up, and Teresa is like, well, listen, Vicki, since we're talking about shit, you were a bitch to me. You were kind of bitchy to me. And she's like, I don't understand. What are you talking about? And Teresa says, well, number one, about the, who changed the most in their looks. That I'm not going to say anything about because I completely agree with everybody when they said Teresa changed the most in her looks. She absolutely did. Even if you're just talking about like her hairline, it's no longer like here. So that, yes. But when Teresa was talking about her time in prison and what happened with Joe Giudice to get her there, and then Vicki just starts screaming, pay your taxes, pay your taxes. Yeah, that it took a little time for Teresa marinate in it and think about it. And she was like, that was her being rude to me. And you were being rude to me. And Teresa is expressing how she felt. And then right in the middle of it, Vicky points out the window and says, oh, look, right there, they sell very high-end clothing right there. Who cares? She's trying to talk to you. And then Vicky says, oh, I didn't, or no. She said it before. Vicky says, when Teresa says, oh, you yelled, pay your taxes. And Vicky says, oh, I wasn't talking about you. I meant somebody else. I was talking about somebody else that I know. Well, that's crazy because Luann's like, you were looking directly at her. That's insane. Like, what? You were looking right at her. And that's a very difficult time. Like, that's a difficult time for Teresa. You know, am I a huge Teresa fan? Not really. But if that's something that you have to, that happened and you now have to live with it, and it's something that, like, you know, when the media talks about you, they talk about certain things. They talk about the table flip. They talk about the fact that you went to prison. You know, she has to live in it every day. So to hear somebody that she has to spend all this time with start screaming, pay your taxes, And then right after she says that, when she points out, Teresa's trying to talk, and then she points out the window and says, oh, they sell very high-end things there. That's very nice. The fuck is that? No, I don't like, I'm going to tell you this much. If anybody ever says that Vicki Gunvalson has no haters, it means I'm dead. This is my first time watching anything with Vicki Gunvalson. I don't like her. I don't like her at all. She is nowhere, no. I 100 out of 10 would not recommend watching her. Okay. And then it also was brought up that years ago, Vicki was asked at BravoCon, who is the most overrated housewife? And she says Teresa. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm not that big a fan of Teresa's. However, I wouldn't say that she's overrated. She has brought in the past a lot to the franchise. Does she now? Not really, but in the past, yeah, she has. Vicki apologizes. Vicki's like, listen, I'm sorry. I think that this was coming from a place of jealousy. And Teresa's like, okay, cool. You know what? We'll accept it. Let's move on. So everybody arrives in Beverly Hills, second stop. They're staying at the penthouse, and they're staying at the Beverly Hilton, which we know is owned by Kathy's husband. They're not going out that night. They're having a pajama party. Luann FaceTimes her boyfriend, and her boyfriend's name is Michael. He is a German from Munich that she met in the Hamptons. So she is no longer with that man that she hooked up with on Love Hotel. I can't remember his name, but it wasn't this dude. So that's done. The only thing so everybody's together and they're doing, like, you know, they have little appetizers and stuff and they're eating. The only thing that I will agree with Vicki on, the only thing is if I'm sitting next to you and I have a plate and you are eating a kebab, I was going to say a shabab. If you're eating a kebab and you put that meat in your mouth and you eat off of that stick, don't put the rest of that meat onto my plate, because I wouldn't gag, but I don't want your half-eaten meat on my plate. I get it. You didn't eat the other two, but the other two were near your mouth. It's yours. Pick up a plate. She's like, I don't have a plate. Well, get a plate. Pick up a plate. There's probably plenty plates sitting around. That's the only thing I will agree with Vicki on. She's like, she's the Countess. You would think that she would know better, which I agree. That's not, I mean, that's etiquette 101, I would think. Don't put your half-eaten meat on somebody's plate. Okay. So everybody's talking, and Giselle says, Luann basically said because they start talking about gag reflexes, and Portia's like, oh, you don't take the dick? And he's like, no, we were talking about eating. But then it gets into oral schmecks. And Giselle's like, well, Luann said in the Sprinter van on the way over that that Vicky needs to get more dick, more wick. I'm just gonna say wick so that I don't get slapped on the hands by YouTube. More wick. And Vicky almost seems offended. Like, Vicky's like, I don't want to talk about this. But this is, listen, Portia's like, this is what women talk about at pajama parties. Like, intimate things like, schmecks and stuff like that. I mean, intimate subjects. So, lighten up. Calm your tits, Vicky. Calm your tits, Vicky. Calm down. It's a pajama party. It's all women. Everybody's talking about it. Oh, for Christ's sakes. And Luann is like, I'm not saying that you might be controlling. You are controlling. She is absolutely controlling. I could see that from a mile away. But it's really nice. All the women are letting loose. They're dancing. They're twerking. They're having a really good time. And it's women being supportive of other women, which sometimes, a lot of times, you might not see on the Housewives. Every once in a while you'll see it, but it was just them letting loose and being supportive of each other. I mean, except for Vicky, and they're having fun. And Lisa Barlow is really having fun. You don't see her a lot of times like laughing or anything like that. And in her confessional, she starts crying, and the producer's like, oh, why are you crying? She says, because I don't know when the last time was that I laughed or that I had so much fun with friends, with women, or with housewives. And she's like, on my cast, it's either on my city and my castmates, there's always yelling, and it's usually at me, and they're usually trying to like bring me down or something. But this is why you have friends. This is why you have friends. We need to be supportive of each other and laugh. And I felt, and a part of me felt a little bad. You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't always be so stressed. And I can see where she's coming from. But this Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, it's a different beast. It's like a different version of Real Housewives, because this is like, these women were brought together in the hopes of celebrating. You know what I mean? It's a very celebratory show, and it's a different show from the normal Real Housewives. Like in the normal Real Housewives, it's more drama and fighting. But also, I have to say that this Lisa Barlow on Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip is very different from the Lisa Barlow that we see on Salt Lake City. You know what I mean? Like, on Salt Lake City, they come for her. There's people fighting with her because, I mean, of how she acts on that show. She does come for the women on her show, and there's people reacting to that. But this is a very different Lisa Barlow that we're seeing on Ultimate Girls Trip. I have to say, I said it last week, I like Lisa Barlow on Ultimate Girls Trip. I'll say the same thing about Teresa. Like, typically, I'm not that big a fan of Teresa on New Jersey, but she's different on this show. And I like her on this show. Like, this show is making me like the women more than I typically would. Like, I like Portia, so, you know, I like Portia, so Portia on this show, yeah, I like Portia on this show even more. Like, Portia on this show might be one of my favorite housewives on Girls Trip. I like Kyle more on this show than I like her on Beverly Hills. And it's not that I don't like Kyle, but Kyle in the last few years last few seasons has been like, I don't want to say boring, but boring. But I did kind of feel I felt a little bad for Lisa Barlow when she started crying. Okay, so day 2, Kyle FaceTimes Sutton, and we find out that the ladies are going to be going over to Sutton's Main Street home, because remember, she lives on a main road. They're going over to Sutton's house for an ugly leather pants luncheon. Yes, an ugly leather pants luncheon, because if you're going to be looking back into the past for Real Housewives with Beverly Hills, you kind of have to mention Crystal's ugly leather pants. And I thought that was cute. It's in there, so they're having an ugly leather pants luncheon. And listen, it wouldn't be an ugly leather pants luncheon without the person who wore the ugly leather pants, and that's Crystal. Crystal shows up. I feel like she has on the same exact outfit from that episode, which I loved. I know there's a lot of people who just don't like Crystal. I like Crystal. I have to tell you, I follow Crystal on, I think on TikTok and I think on Instagram. I'm going to tell you, after she was let go from the Housewives, she really is living her best life. Like, don't feel bad for Crystal, because she really is living her best life. Vicky, so all the ladies arrive. Everybody's talking. Everybody's, oh, nice to see you. Oh my God, hi Sutton. And Vicky goes up to Crystal and is talking to her. Crystal's like, well, if it wasn't for you, if it wasn't for you and OC, the rest of the cities wouldn't even be out there, blah, blah, blah. And doesn't Vicky go into the confessional, and she's like, I love that Sutton was paying tribute to me. And how lovely was that? That was so nice to hear. Producer's like, girl, that was Crystal. Do you know, that wasn't Sutton, that was Crystal. Do you know Crystal? She's like, I don't. Okay. Alrighty then. This was a nice lunch, and they sat down. All the girls are like, oh, this is bougie. Okay. Everybody except Vicky. Vicky's like, I don't know why we have to do this. In the OC, we would just bring the lunch out for our guests. We don't have, that's why it's different. That's why it's different. Okay. That's another reason why I don't think I would want to watch, OC. I like Beverly Hills because you got this fanciness. It's like Lisa Barlow says, in Beverly Hills, they appreciate an experience. So do I. I want to see this experience. I am never going to get a chance to experience this. I like seeing it. I like living vicariously. Okay. Then we're talking. Vicky brings up the fact that she says something like, oh, Shannon, she says to Giselle, oh, Shannon stole Giselle's man. And Giselle's like, she didn't steal my man. Here's what had happened was, before at the premiere party for Love Hotel, Shannon was canoodling with the man that Giselle was into on Love Hotel. I mean, Giselle was staying at the man's house. So I can understand that. I get that. She would see them canoodling on the red carpet. That would upset me. And Kyle is like, so you really would have liked for Shannon to give you a heads up. And she's like, yeah, that's exactly what. Like when she said, like, whenever Mauricio was on our show, I texted you and I told you about that. And then Kyle comes right out and she's like, yeah, you also said that you wanted to lay horizontal with my husband. Oh, okay. She come right out and said it. And Giselle knew she was caught. And Giselle was like, oh shit. Okay, I apologize. I shouldn't have said that. And Kyle accepts it. She's like, do I accept it? I do. Do I think that if given the chance, Giselle would maybe lay horizontal with my husband? Yeah, she might. And I did love Teresa. Teresa took 3 to 4 business days to figure out what horizontal meant. So dessert is served and it is a little mouse. And we all know what that meant. That meant let the mouse go. Let the mouse go. So they're playing a game called Let the Mouse Go. It's a scavenger hunt. You have to find the $25,000 sunglasses. You like my sunglasses? They're $25,000. $25,000, Dana. And find the $25,000 sunglasses, and then you find the key and you let the mouse go. I thought it was cute. There was 2 teams. There was Crystal's team. There was Kyle's team. And Crystal's team won. I thought it was very cute. I loved the fact that they had a game, and it wasn't like this whole, hey, let's ask questions that are going to start fights. I thought this was cute because it incorporated moments from the past, from Beverly Hills. I thought it was an adorable idea. So they're like, what do we win? Kyle's like, well, you win an invitation to my white party. So they're having another white party. 6 hours later at the white party, there's plenty of housewives. I noticed Whitney and Bronwyn, and it looks like Whitney gets into it with Giselle. There's, did I see Heather? I don't know if I had seen Heather Gay. I thought I might have. And then Erica Jane and Luann get into it. They do not get along because Luann's like, my theory is correct. She's a bitch. So I saw Denise Richards, Erica Jane. I thought that was Adrienne Maloof with like a cast on, Camille, and I thought I also peeped Kevin Lee. Remember, like LVP's party planner? Girl, there's probably even more there that are going to be there. So, yeah, pretty good. I'm telling you, I'm glad, despite the fact that I do not like Vicki Gunvalson, I am enjoying this. I'm glad I started watching. Okay, so listen, if you watched, let me know what you thought. Also, if you enjoyed this, give me a thumbs up. If you really enjoyed it, you can always subscribe. It's free. And always remember that you are always loved, seen, and heard here in my channel. And also, please, let's always put out kindness, love, compassion, positivity, hope, and empathy out there. Always treat others the way that you would want to be treated. Let's be aware of our surroundings because it's crazy out there. Be smart, be safe, be smart, and always hydrate with some water, which I've been doing today throughout the day. And if you're in a dangerous situation or you're at a time in your life where you're in a, whether it be physically or emotionally challenging time, please always know that Dolly and I are sending out love, thoughts, prayers, and positive energy so you make it through. All right. Love you guys. And I will see you tomorrow where I will see you tomorrow. It will probably be for 2 videos because I did see a movie today that I have got to tell you about. Okay, so I will see you tomorrow, and everybody have a great day. All right, bye guys. Love you. Bye.